Let me call to order the special council meeting of Mount Pleasant Town Council for this Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. As I will do in the next meeting, let me remind everybody it is Black History Month in the town of Mount Pleasant. We have a robust schedule of events. Please consult those. I believe this Saturday is the Plantation Singers, if I remember correctly. So that's one you don't want to miss. Item number 2 on our agenda for today is public comment. If you're here to make a public comment, please come forward, give name and address, 2.5 minutes. Anyone for public comment? None? All right. Public comment is closed. Item 3, executive session. Item A, legal and contractual legal advice related to John Eisen et al. Versus the town of Mount Pleasant. And B, personnel update on personnel matters related to the Mount Pleasant Police Department. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
In a second? All right. Any discussion before the vote? Let me announce that we may take as council action on any item, including any subsection of any section listed on an executive session agenda or discussed in executive session during a properly noticed meeting. All in favor of the motion to go into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are entering executive session. Upstairs, please. Okay. All right, thank you. No, I just want to get it right. Pressure's on. Is this? There. For those of you that are just here, we are concluding our 5 p.m. special town council meeting. Thank you. So bear with us as we wrap this up and then move on to the 6 o'clock monthly town council meeting. So we have reconvened after executive session. No votes were cast. No action was taken. I do believe we have a couple of motions.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem.
On item 3A, I would like the motion to grant town staff the authority to proceed as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The second item was an update on personnel matters related to Mount Pleasant Police Department, and the council members have asked me. I had a statement, but I'll make that statement in a form of a motion. First of all, it is that we commend the handling of the investigation into the current issue in our police department by our chief and by our head of human resources. We received the info up to date, up to this point, and commend the chief for the information that was made available to the public yesterday, which was a fantastic update. That we agree with the path forward as was laid out to us in executive session tonight. We think it is on the right track, not only for this matter, but ways to improve moving forward. And perhaps most importantly, we want to thank and commend all the officers dutifully serving and protecting the town of Mount Pleasant day in and day out, good times and bad, good publicity and other. And we want to thank them for that. And I make that in a form of a motion. Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 5 is approval of the 2026 Blessing of the Fleet beneficiaries. Yes, sir.
Well, we've done this so many times.
Yes.
Right? Nicole Harvey's here, and she will lead us through this portion of the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you all, council members. So you have in your packets, I believe, recommendations for many, many years. You know, we're almost at 40 years. This will be our 39th year of the Blessing. And East Cooper Meals on Wheels had all the got all of the net proceeds from the festival. It's not on. I don't need a mic. We all know that. People can hear me down the hall. Sorry. So I can't tell if it's on or not. Anyway, we have formalized the process for many, many years. The Magwood family gets together with staff and we review applications from area nonprofits that serve Mount Pleasant residents. And so this year we would like to recommend the Lonan Foundation, which works with children who have a parent who has been diagnosed with cancer, and they give them really specific care to help them through and give them resources through that kind of traumatic event. And then the other is East Cooper Mount Pleasant Kiwanis Club, and they do a lot of great local projects with the schools and the Ronald McDonald House and in Lucy Beckham and Wando. So two great local organizations full of wonderful Mount Pleasant people helping our community, and so that's who we would like to recommend.
Mr. Chair,
I
move to
for
approve.
approval of the Blessing of the Fleet beneficiaries as described.
All right. Do we have a second?
Yes, second.
Thank you. We let the rec chair do that.
Thank you.
Any
all.
discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And thank both organizations for what you do for our community. Item 6, recognition of state champions, bands of Wando girls tennis, Oceanside football, Oceanside boys volleyball, and Oceanside girls tennis.
So,
I'll turn that over to
I-
the chair.
Yes, so Councilwoman Hyatt is a proud alumni of Bands of Wando, so she really wanted to do this recognition. So we are not. So
Awesome.
go for it, Miss Hyatt.
Thank you. As former Wando band drum major, I'm here and proud to recognize our Bands of Wando. The Wando High School Band, currently led by band directors Bobby Lambert, Laney Radecki, and Matthew Kilby, also a proud Bands of Wando alumnus, is a legacy program that has rebuilt with strength and resilience following COVID and school changes. This past season marked a historic achievement. The Bands of America Carolina Regional Championship, the South Carolina State Championship, and a top 11 finish at Bands of America Grand Nationals, an unprecedented sweep in a single year.
Yes.
Beyond awards, the Bands of Wando provide students with belonging, discipline, leadership, and lifelong impact. The program proudly represents Mount Pleasant on local, regional, and national stages while remaining committed to ensuring that no student is excluded due to financial barriers. The band directors were unable to attend this evening as there's concert band rehearsal tonight. However, they send their sincere thanks and appreciation for this recognition. We're happy to celebrate these students for their accomplishments. Congratulations.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Great job, guys. Oh, thanks. So fun. Awesome.
That's for us. Oh my God.
Thank you, guys.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Congratulations.
Shelby, thank you
Excellent.
so much. Is your mom Melissa? Michelle. Okay, great. Hey, Michelle. How you doing? I know your mom. All right. This is wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
That was awesome.
250 kids come in. It's a drum line.
All right. I think up next we have our Wando girls tennis team. Are they out there? All right. Welcome. All right. So, the Wando High School girls tennis team won the 5A Division I state championship this past fall, beating Spartanburg 4-3 in the final to cap an amazing season in which the Warriors finished with a 22-4 record. It was the team's second consecutive state title and 10th overall in program history. Wando was led by senior co-captains Mia L. Kudiwi and Callie Kuzaza, who clinched the championship in dramatic fashion when they won their doubles match. The last time a Wando girls tennis team won back-to-back state titles was 2008 and 2009. Wando is coached by Mr. Bob Lang and assisted by Heather Chadwick and David Kelly. So let's give a round of applause for our Wando girls tennis.
Let's go around for the picture. Are you an assistant coach?
All right, up next we have Oceanside football. We might need two lines here. Not Jackson Sony making me feel short. You're not even the tallest one. All right. All right. Oceanside football. So the football team captured its not one, not two, but third straight South Carolina State title, rolling to a 28-7 victory over BHP to secure a three-peat in the 3A championship game. After a slow 0-2 start, playing large schools, by the way, the Land Sharks rebounded by winning 13 straight games, highlighted by a statement 24-20 victory over 5A powerhouse and eventual state champion Dutch Fork, who also had, like an 18-game winning streak or something going into that? Is that right? Just adding. I'm ad-libbing. So let's see. Proving that Oceanside was among the best, not only in the Low Country, but in the entire state. Oceanside capped the season with dominant performances on both sides of the ball throughout the playoffs, outscoring opponents 181-36, and the Land Sharks are led by Coach LaPrade. All right. Awesome. Yes. Okay.
Just very quickly. That's okay. My name is Chris Swisher, the board chair at Oceanside, and on behalf of our board, along with Coach Brent LaPrade, we want to give Mayor Haney a championship ball.
Wow.
Just to show,
Hey, Coach.
just to say thank you for all the support. There's, it's funny, every time that Oceanside takes the field, get accused of recruiting from all over the state, all over the Southeast, and a lot of these boys I've coached in the leagues that have played back here at Town Hall, at Park West, and at Moultrie. And these guys are homegrown, and we've got one of the biggest legends of high school football in the making with Coach Brent LaPrade. So, boys, it's on to number 4 and 5 and 6, and let's keep making Mount Pleasant proud.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, let's get a picture. All right. Yes, sir.
Now they got people from Summer.
No. Yes.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
We're a big family. We know.
Good. Awesome.
Great job, everybody. Appreciate it.
I look forward to being at your send-off again next year. That's all right. Not at all. All right. Oceanside Boys Volleyball.
Sorry. All right. Now, our wonderful volleyball players, please come up. All right. Perfect. The Oceanside boys volleyball team earned its second straight 4A state championship, defeating Travelers Rest 3-1 to defend its crown and cap another strong season where the Land Sharks finished 23-3. After dropping the opening set in the state championship game, the Land Sharks responded with poise and intensity, dominating the final 3 sets to secure the state title. Congratulations, fellas. We'll give them a big round of applause. All right, fellas, we'll have you turn around for a picture.
Awesome. One more.
All right. One more. We have our Oceanside girls tennis team. Are they out there? All right. The tennis program continued its dynasty by winning its 5th consecutive state championship with a victory over Christ Church, extending one of the top championship streaks in the South Carolina High School League. Much like last season, the title came down to one crucial match and a decisive tiebreak. The Land Sharks delivered when it mattered most, winning the tiebreak to secure their 5th straight title. Congratulations, ladies. I want
You know,
the tallest
I
girl needs to stand in front of John.
I'm just joking. The whole team's taller than me. So.
I hear you, brother.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah, good to see you. We should just get you a permanent chair.
Right. Yeah, really. Sometimes we wonder why members of the state legislature from the upstate don't like the low country very much. If you listen to who we are beating, that might have something to do with it. All right, congratulations to all our youth, and we really appreciate everybody sort of tying it back to their experience in the town of Mount Pleasant. And that's why we do it. Item 7, if there is nothing further for this special town council meeting, we will adjourn. We'll give the clerk a few minutes to get the software switched over, and then we will start our 6 p.m. regular town council meeting. This special meeting is adjourned. There you go, a man-made knock of the gavel. Huh? Yeah.
Mrs. Flatley is right here, right behind you. There you go. Yeah. Sorry about the chicken scratch on the special.
That's okay.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, February 10th monthly town council meeting of the town of Mount Pleasant. It's good to see everybody here, and let me remind you that we are in the midst of our Black History Month observance, and this Saturday night at Christ Church, the official program is the Plantation Singers, and if you've never experienced that, it's something you don't want to miss. So there's something every Saturday through the end of the month, so please take those in as you can. Item number 1 would be our prayer, which tonight will be led by Chaplain Rob Dewey, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Chapman. Please stand.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the gift of being able to live in Mount Pleasant that you've blessed us with, and just this beautiful part of the world. We thank you for the leadership here. Ask your special blessing upon this meeting. and especially your blessing upon all first responders, that you would hold them in the palm of your hand. So as we move forward in this time, let it be your time as we move to attempt to do your will. In your holy and blessed name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. Item 3, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, public hearings, awards, and presentations. A, we will begin with a presentation of the Alhambra Garden Club proclamation. Mr. DeMora, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council, hello. I'm very excited about doing this. I understand at the end of this proclamation, we will have a ceremonial handoff. I believe there are 3 keys, not just one, to the post office. But I'll go ahead, sir, read the proclamation on your behalf. Whereas the historic Pagins Post Office was built by the Pagins family in 1899 and served as the first freestanding post office in Mount Pleasant from 1899 to 1917. And whereas the Alhambra Garden Club requested the town's permission at its June 7, 1971 council meeting to move the post office, which was offered to the club by Mrs. Tracy Proctor, to the town's property now known as the James B. Edwards Park, stating that the building would be restored as nearly as possible to its original state. And whereas town council found the club's request to be acceptable, allowing the club to relocate the post office to the town's property. And whereas Harry Hitopoulos subsequently relocated the empty post office to its current location at the western corner of Pitt and Bank Streets in the Old Village, and gave the club the keys to the post office. And whereas the club restored the post office and was successful in acquiring and furnishing the post office with its original postal boxes and other furnishings in use when it was last operative in 1917. And whereas the club has maintained and preserved the post office since 1971 and received the town's Cresco Historical Stewardship Award in February of 2019, and whereas the club has decided to cease its use of the post office and turn the keys to the post office over to the town, and whereas the town is grateful for the club's contributions to the history of the town through its preservation and maintenance of the post office. Now, therefore, I, Will Haney, Mayor of the town of Mount Pleasant, gratefully accept the keys to the Pagins Post Office this 10th day of February 2026. And Mr. Mayor, would you please come forward?
Thank you very much.
Members of the club, if you'd like, please come on up.
High security I want everybody to see these historic. How about a round of applause? And thank you for keeping the post office since 1972. That's longer than some of our council meetings have been alive. And we appreciate these. Thanks for all you do for us. I look forward to seeing you in the spring when y'all bring those beautiful flowers in the garden. Thank you. Thank y'all. Pictures? Yes.
You want to get a picture that way, though? Like, at least come around front and get all of them? Yeah.
Our next item, we want to have the reading of a resolution from the South Carolina Legislature in honor of Rear Admiral James H. Flatley III, United States Navy retired. If you remember last summer, we recognized the Admiral here, and his widow Nancy is here. I'm so sorry I was 1,000 miles away when the Admiral passed, and for his visitation, I'm sorry I could not be there. But he is one of the most impactful citizens to our country that has ever called Mount Pleasant home, and we appreciate Representative Busto spearheading this resolution, and we just thought it would be fitting to have that read tonight. So, Mr. DeMora, if you will again do the honors.
I'd be happy to, sir. It's an honor for me to read to you a resolution from the South Carolina House of Representatives. It says, "This is a House resolution to express the profound sorrow of the members of the South Carolina House of Representatives upon the passing of James H. Flatley III, retired Rear Admiral of the United States Navy, and to extend their deepest sympathy to his large and loving family and his many friends. Whereas the members of the South Carolina House of Representatives were saddened to learn of the death of retired Rear Admiral James H. Flatley III at the age of 91 on December 12, 2025. And whereas born in San Diego, California on January 9, 1934, he was the oldest of 4 boys, born to James H. Flatley Jr. and Dorothy May McMurray. And he followed in his father's distinguished footsteps as a World War II ace by becoming a distinguished naval aviator himself. And whereas during his 31 years of active military service, he logged 4,460 flight hours in over 30 different aircraft, and was the first aviator to complete 1,608 carrier landings. In 1963, he successfully executed multiple carrier landings aboard the USS Forrestal, while piloting the C-130 Hercules, the largest aircraft ever to land on a carrier. Whereas Admiral Flatley's decorations included the Distinguished Service Medal, Silver Star, Legion of Merit with 4 gold stars, Distinguished Flying Cross with 2 gold stars, Bronze Star Medal with Combat V for Valor, Air Medal with Silver Star, with the numeral 24 to indicate over 350 combat missions, the Navy Commendation Medal with Combat V, and Presidential Unit Citation with Bronze Star. During his 3rd tour in the Vietnam War, he was commander of Fighter Squadron VF-31. More than all the medals he received, he felt the greatest accomplishment of his career was that he brought home every member of that squadron to their anxious and loving families. Whereas together with his beloved wife, Nancy Monica Christie, he reared 6 fine children: James IV, Joseph, Mary Kitely, Michael, Kathleen, and Cara Brophy. His children blessed him with the affection of 22 loving grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren, with more on the way currently. Adding to his pride and all of his offspring, 3 of his 6 children followed his path into military service, along with 7 of his grandchildren. And whereas, upon retiring from the Navy, Mr. Flatley served as Director of Government Programs at Cambridge Research Corporation, and then as General Manager and Chairman of the Board of Intermarine USA. In 1994, he and his wife moved to Charleston, where he served the state as CEO of Patriots Point Naval and Maritime Museum, transforming Patriots Point into the state's largest tourist attraction. Whereas he served as chairman of the board for Roper St. Francis Healthcare in Mount Pleasant and of the board of the South Carolina Maritime Security Commission, charged with reestablishing and overseeing the South Carolina Naval Militia. He served on the board of directors for the USS Yorktown Foundation and the National Medal of Honor Center for Leadership, and was a member of the Golden Eagle Association, the USO World Board of Governors, the United States Naval Institute, the Red River Valley River Rats, the Association of Naval Aviation, the Surface Naval Aviation, the Naval Submarine League, and the United States Naval Academy Alumni Association and Foundation. For his significant contributions, he was honored with the coveted Order of the Palmetto. And whereas, during a life devoted to his country, his community, and his family, Jim Flatley was a man of strong faith and was deeply committed to his church, St. Benedict Catholic Church. His impact on naval aviation, the Charleston community, and the lives of those whom he loved and with whom he served will be remembered for generations. The members of the South Carolina House of Representatives are grateful for the life and legacy of Jim Flatley and for the example of courage, sacrifice, and commitment to service he set for all who knew him. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives that the members of the South Carolina House of Representatives, by this resolution, express their profound sorrow upon the passing of James H. Flatley III, retired Rear Admiral of the United States Navy, and extend their deepest sympathy to his large and loving family and his many friends. Signed, G. Merle Smith, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Thank you very much. Item C is administration of the oath to our new municipal judge, Judge Sinclair, who is actually returning after having done this in the past. I will be administering the oath, Judge. It's not often I get to swear the judge. I look forward to that. So please place your hand there and raise your right hand, and I will do this in sizable bites. I do solemnly swear that I am duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state to exercise the duties of municipal judge for the town of Mount Pleasant, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge those duties and will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and of the United States. I pledge to uphold the integrity and independence of the judiciary. I pledge in the discharge of my duties to treat all persons who enter the courtroom with civility, fairness, and respect. I pledge to listen courteously, sit impartially, act promptly, and rule after careful, considerate deliberation. I pledge to seek justice and justice alone. So help me God. Congratulations.
Judge, thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, if Ms. Harness will come forward. Item D is a public hearing on the proposed amended municipal budget for the 2026 fiscal year. This being a public hearing, comment is allowed that does not take up your time for your public comment later. So if you have a comment after this, please come forward. Ms. Harness, if you will go over the particulars.
Good evening. So this is a public hearing on the proposed amendments to the fiscal year 2026 Mount Pleasant budget pursuant to Section 6180 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. The original proposed mid-year budget adjustment is in the amount of $9,958,491. There are also some proposed amendments which were discussed during the council retreat, which will be discussed later in the agenda. That's all I have.
All right. Is there anyone here to make a public comment on the budget as presented? If not, I am required by law to sound the gavel and declare this public hearing closed.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion
Yes.
that we include the recommendation for healthcare fund balance true up amount of $2,300,000. That we include IT WatchGuard migration.
Mr. Chapman, we'll be getting to that later in the agenda.
That's
There's
in the
a,
agenda.
Okay,
this is just the public hearing.
okay. I
Portion.
thought the public hearing was over. That's why I was going forward with it.
That's all right. We'll get to that one. Thank you, though. All right. Item 5, approval of the minutes of the January 13th special and regular town council meetings and the December 25 financial statement. Motion, please.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 6 is public comment. When your name is called, please come forward to the lectern, name and address in 2.5 minutes, please. Mr. DeMore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First speaker, Parker Smith.
Good afternoon. My name is Parker Smith. I'm located at 1234 Melvin Bennett Road in Mount Pleasant. I was raised in Mount Pleasant, graduated from Wando High School, and today I run our family's funeral home business. This community has always been home to us. Our family is currently at a crossroads where we plan for the future of our business and evaluate relocating our funeral home within Mount Pleasant. As part of that process, we took a thoughtful look at how this property could best serve our family and the surrounding community. While the town's comprehensive plan identifies this parcel for commercial use, we believe that residential zoning is more consistent with the existing character of the area and better aligned with neighboring properties. Rezoning to R2 would allow us for a carefully designed residential community that respects our neighbors and the natural features of the land. This zoning provides flexibility to design lots around the majority of existing mature trees. Although much of the site has been cleared historically, our plan intentionally adds mature trees, landscape buffers, and a natural-looking pond feature along the road frontage to enhance the tree canopy and to improve curb appeal overall. Importantly, all three of us, my brothers and I, plan to live in this community. Because of that, we're personally invested in the long-term quality, appearance, and livability of this neighborhood. The request is compatible with surrounding zoning, including the R2 zoning of Shell Landing and the adjacent Midtown plan development. It also reduces traffic impact by consolidating two existing access points into one safer, more consolidated, efficient entrance. Our goal is to create a neighborhood that feels natural and intentional, with walking paths, benches, green space that provides a walkable park-like entrance experience. This approach is inspired by the nearby Shell Landing with our intent to complement and enhance the overall character of this area. We believe that the rezoning request allows for the development for our family, our neighbors, and the town of Mount Pleasant that we can all be proud of for years to come. Thank you all for your time and consideration today.
Stuart Whiteside.
Thank you. You have Stuart Whiteside, 618 Hopcall Bluff Drive. I'm with Seaman Whiteside, the engineer that's representing the Smith family, who is requesting R2 zoning for their approximately 5-acre tract on Rifle Range Road for the development of a 14-lot single-family subdivision. The R2 zoning is consistent with the neighboring properties. The Shell Point on one side is R2. Central Mount Pleasant on the other side is actually a zone PD with much smaller lots. Under the current R1 zoning that the property is currently zoned, you could develop 12 single-family lots. However, the shape and width of the property is such that, along with the drainage easement on one side, severely restricts the building footprints that can be placed on the lots. By using R2 zoning with front and rear setbacks of 25 feet instead of 30 feet that you have in R1, it allows you the flexibility in building footprints and helps us plan around the existing trees. R2 would end up providing a better streetscape visually from the type of homes that can be placed, the placement of the homes, and from a vegetation standpoint. So we'd like to ask your consideration for R2 zoning. If you have any technical questions later, I'd be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Marcus McDonald.
Hello, my name is Martin McDonald, 123 Lion Street, Town of Mount Pleasant Council. Happy Black History Month. I'm lead organizer of Charleston BLM, also a substitute teacher with family roots in Mount Pleasant that go back generations, back to when Boone Hall was operational in a different aspect. And another factoid of Black History Month before I get to my main point, but what followed after slavery was sharecropping, and my grandmother, whose family was from the Boone Hall plantation, she was raised up in a sharecropper family, and that was the grandma who raised me. But back to my point in my topic at hand, specifically with Mount Pleasant Town Council, I'm asking y'all to consider voting on an independent racial bias audit of the Town of Mount Pleasant Police Department. It's well known by a lot of folks, at least who look like me, that everybody in Mount Pleasant is not policed the same. And I encourage Mount Pleasant Town Council to make action to change that. There's proof that these independent racial bias audits have worked in places like City of Charleston and North Charleston. And I encourage y'all to reach out to folks like Charleston Area Justice Ministry who do boots on the ground work like that. I see some of y'all nodding your heads, so some of y'all familiar with them. But I encourage y'all to work with them. Some of them have congregations and churches that they work with in the town of Mount Pleasant. So I know they have the vested interest. And I know a lot of the communities, although they may not be incorporated, a lot of us drive through Mount Pleasant to get to work, etc. And we deserve to be policed the same way as everybody else when we're driving through. And that's pretty much my main point. Again, in closing, please look into, and I encourage you to actually do an independent racial bias audit of Mount Pleasant Police Department. Thank you.
Blake Hill.
Hello, my name is Blake Hill, 3759 North Highway 19 or Highway 17, Mount Pleasant. I have been missed the past two meetings as my wife and I have spent the last year living in an RV, traveling the country, visiting over 40 plus campgrounds across the country, and we are proposing to annex into the town of Mount Pleasant to hopefully bring the best of what we have experienced across the country to the town of Mount Pleasant. We have no campgrounds here other than the KOA, which is a beautiful campground, has been around for a long time, and we're hoping to bring a new, updated kind of boutique, higher-end feel to it to bring people that value what we love about Mount Pleasant and Charleston to the area. Thank you for your time. We just haven't been able to make the past two meetings, so just wanted to show face and say thank you and that we hope to get annexed into the town.
Mike Van Horn.
Good evening, Council. Mike Van Horn, Iron Bridge Drive. I'd like to request that the council as a whole will sit there and take a look to go back to the fact that when we were looking to have 3 readings on town council versus the 2 readings, recently we had the meeting over there at Alhambra Hall, and there seems to be too many things periodically. They're getting put on agendas that the residents don't know about. So I think, 3 readings would be a little bit more helpful as far as information for us to understand what's going on, what may be voted on or what may not be voted on, just to keep the public aware in that sense. The next thing that I want to talk about is, directly to you, Mayor Haney. I'm concerned about your response that was posted recently as far as the Mount Pleasant police cheating scandal. You're quoted as saying, "This is not like we're talking about officers who are not worthy of being police officers somewhere." Those are pretty alarming words, and it's quoted, News 4 has it on their site as well. I mean, the word bad optics continue to plague Mount Pleasant. You know, we had Patriots Point was one situation, bad optics. But when you can sit there and basically look at the officers and just give them a pat on the back and say, you know what, you were caught cheating, no big deal. You know, it's a little sensitive to the town to sit there and expect you as our leader to sit there and just turn a blind eye. My question is, what other things go on throughout the town that we just sit there and turn a black eye to? So we deserve better. I would just hope you would take a look at the situation. Maybe it was addressed wrong to the public, but maybe, you know, consider what you're saying before you say it, because again, you represent all of us when you're talking to the media. Thank you.
David Spedden.
Good evening. Dave Spedden, 3429 Tumor Kiln Circle. Small town charm. Every year before the Super Bowl, my neighborhood does a chili cook-off. And this year we want to give a thank you to Councilwoman Whitaker. She was one of our guest judges this year, as well to the Mount Pleasant Fire Department that comes to promote fire safety and prevention. And I think the adults like that even more than the kids do, just by the pictures and everything that happened that day. So it was a great event, and we sincerely thank you. Highway 41, glad to see the communications are a lot more active, and the county came to the retreat the other week. I did not know they were going to be there in the afternoon. I left at lunchtime. I'm sorry I did, but I was able to get a copy of the presentation. Thank you, John. And I do have a lot of questions and comments for it that I will share with the county. I'm curious, and I know you can't answer now. Do you have questions and comments that you gave them that are actionable and they're going to have to get back to you? Because I want to make sure these things that I bring to them will be tied back. And will there be a follow-up meeting for you? On the milestone slide, I didn't see any plan for communication, so I'm just hoping that's a little oversight. But they had other dates that were there. But communication on this has to happen all along. I'll wait until after I meet with the county and let you know how that turns out. Lastly, the 2026 transportation sales tax referendum. I was at the county meeting the other day where all the mayors presented their priorities. I thought it was a really good meeting, some really good feedback. But what I'm seeing and reading the paper, talking to neighbors and the group there, is that what is your plan to communicate our priorities to the community? So when they go to vote, it's more about what we will get or won't get. So I think informed voters make better voters, and this can't be an emotional one because there's a lot at stake, because there's some things that we seriously need now, and depending on how we vote, we may not see them for a very long, long time. So thank you.
Jamie McKee.
James McKee, 1247 Palmetto Peninsula Drive. I'm here to follow up a letter that I sent. I think you got a little bit of mail about artificial turf. And I have to confess, a year ago, I was probably neutral on grass and artificial turf. But I've done a lot of research at the encouragement of some of my friends who are in the conservation area. And turns out there are some significant health risks associated with artificial turf. One for the kids getting more hurt. The second is the fields are hot. They absorb a lot of the heat, and I don't think we need more of that here in South Carolina. And the third and the most worrying to me is that the chemicals from the artificial turf and the surface that's put below them goes into your groundwater. And, you know, a lot of the research about this is emerging, right? And so a $2.7 billion industry is going to ask you to ignore these warning signs that there are some serious risks with choosing it. It's not that artificial turf doesn't have a lot of benefits, but I don't think the risks are worth, you know, what could possibly happen to our kids and to our community. And we may not know for sure what the full long-term effects are of that until later. And that's been true for a lot of other things, most recently Forever Chemicals, right? If you read the article about that, we all thought Stainmaster and Teflon and things like that were great with huge benefits to them, and we didn't really realize the risks of those until later. And you're spending a lot of time now having to clean up and get rid of all those things. So I just ask you to take a careful look as you're considering the types of fields that you're going to put in the Rifle Range Park. Thank you.
That's all I have, sir.
Is there anyone that did not get the opportunity to sign up who would like to speak? Please come forward, name and address, 2.5 minutes, please.
Good evening. My name is Robert Adams. I live at 35 East Lake Road in Mount Pleasant, and I oppose the proposed amendments in ordinance number 25021 pertaining to the building area ratio standards and other development standards. At the outset, I am very sympathetic to the desire to prohibit overdevelopment so that the building covers essentially the whole lot, or the heights are out of character with the community. On the other hand, these proposals go too far. There are both existing and other options that can be taken that are much less draconian. I'd like to make 5 quick points. First of all, I don't live in either the Old Village Historic District or the overlay districts that are shown on page 8 of the presentation relating to the amendment. However, page 2 says that all of these amendments would apply to the rest of the town. So I would respectfully request that the town council clarify that the amendments do not have any effect upon any neighborhoods not shown on page 8. Second, I understand from comments of several of the town council members on Nextdoor that the amendments are the result of some members or some old Mount Pleasant members, residents, about the size and scale of new homes. Significantly, though, those some members have not taken and do not want to take the approach of an HOA or a historic district. I suspect that they believe their neighbors wouldn't support it. And what I am asking is the town council to decline to adopt an ordinance without broad support within that specific area. Third, the adoption of the proposed building area ratio restriction is unreasonable and arbitrary, as demonstrated by the fact in the presentation that it applies regardless of the lot size. This is a radical change from the lot coverage percentage calculation to a cumulative square foot calculation based upon the number of stories in a home or ADU.
Sir, your time's up.
Time is up, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, no, it doesn't work that way.
Denise Fugo, Executive Director of Housing from Mount Pleasant. Happy New Year to everybody. A couple things going on. With the expansion of 41, we're getting some feedback from Gregory Ferry, our only affordable housing project here in Mount Pleasant. I guess 12 parking spots are going to be removed. And if I do the inspections of those townhomes, and the reality is most people, although there is an attic on the 3rd floor for storage, and our residents are young, average age 35. Most people use their garage for storage. So, so there is an issue with those 12 spots, and who's ever working with the county, please include me so we can at least figure out what we're going to do for those residents. And then finally, congratulations to all of you that live in Mount Pleasant, because Zillow and Redfin said that the average home value is now $950,000, which puts more pressure on me because I have 851 people that work for the town, can't afford to buy here. The hospitals are upset because they can't keep staff. So we really need to focus on affordable housing. And to Catherine and Alex, I would like to have lunch with you or a cup of coffee. We do actually have a lot of people. And the good news is in 2026, we have 3 banks that are working with our residents that earn less than $65,000. It's taken 10 years, but we're very excited about it. Thank you.
Jeremy Manchester, 3133 Pignatelli Crescent, Mount Pleasant. Good evening, Council. One of your voters here on the north side of town. Hope you guys are doing well. Tonight, I'm trying to annex a 1.24 acre parcel on 41 that my family acquired 9 years ago into Mount Pleasant. It backs up to Sun Chaser, which is in Mount Pleasant on Highway 41. We're not trying to change the zoning. My family just wants the property to be in Mount Pleasant. I want my taxes to go to the town, not some random spot in Johns Island. We, the town, need the money. I also have a son on the spectrum, and when he moves into this home in several years, I'd like him to be able to work with the town, not the county. The county can be very tough at times. Even pulling a basic permit can turn into a nightmare. I'm trying to plan for his future. He and I have planted many trees here, and we are planning to plant many more. Hoping you can help in any way possible. Really appreciate your guys' time. Take care.
Good evening, Perry Rourke, 2004 Brick Hill Parkway. Congratulations again to Wando Band and all the athletes we hear tonight, which kind of rolls into my comment about playing surfaces and fields for our kids in the town of Mount Pleasant. Artificial turf has been in use in the United States for nearly 60 years and has been extensively studied. Numerous studies, including research and reviews involving agencies such as the CDC, EPA, and U.S. Consumer Protection and Safety, have examined artificial turf surfaces. To date, none of these agencies have concluded that there are proven adverse health effects from playing on modern artificial turf fields. It is important to compare this to the realities of maintaining natural grass fields. Our grass fields require regular applications of fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, and fungicides to remain playable. Many of those products have known environmental and health impacts, and over time they can run off into our local waterways. There's also a very real cost consideration for taxpayers. In the South, maintaining a single natural grass athletic field can cost upwards of $50,000 per year. On top of that, maintaining just one rectangular grass field generates over 225 plastic 50-pound bags that end up annually in our landfills that are used for the fertilizers, seeds, and soil amendments. The town of Mount Pleasant has attempted organic treatment programs in the past on our fields. Those efforts saw very limited success, largely because our fields are simply used too heavily. High utilization makes organic-only programs extremely difficult to sustain. Adding artificial turf fields would help redistribute field usage, reduce wear on existing grass fields, and could actually create opportunities to revisit organic treatment programs in future lower use facilities. Sorry, I hate reading, y'all all know that. The town went roughly 10 years without building new active recreation facilities and is now working to catch up with rapid population growth. Our existing fields are under constant pressure. Artificial turf fields can help handle up to 4 times more use than natural grass, allowing the town to address demand without continually repairing, resodding, and closing fields. Modern artificial turf is not what many people remember from decades ago. New hydro-cooling technologies like HydroChill and T-Cool significantly reduce surface temperatures. Turf blades are now commonly made from polyethylene, which has been brought up before, same materials used in a toothbrush, and is non-toxic material used in food and medical settings. New porous backing and sub-base design improve drainage, reduce runoff, and allow turf systems to be recycled at the end of their life. I just ask that you please use today's science technology and not outdated assumptions when you're making your decision on that. Thank you.
All right, if there's no one else for public comment, public comment is closed. Item 7 is consent agenda items. Do we have a motion, please?
Second.
Motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Items are approved. Item 8 is planning new business. Mrs. Reed, if you'll take us through.
Thank you, Mayor. Trying to catch up to y'all. All right, I'm going to take items 1 and 2 together, but they will need separate votes. So this is an ordinance to annex and zone Community Conservation District, a property on Highway 41. It is 1.24 acres. You can see it here. It does back up to Sun Chaser Lane and is adjacent to Isaiah Smalls Road. It is currently S3 in the county, and it will come in as CC, Community Conservation District. Those are comparable, the same zoning districts, essentially, in the town and the county. This property is in the Phillips Historic District in the county, and so it comes to you with a recommendation of denial for the zoning from the Planning Commission, and then from the Planning Committee, it has a recommendation of denial for the annexation. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Is this for A and B or just A? I mean, 1 and 2 or just 1?
Just one. Yeah.
Just 1. Okay, thank you. To approve?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have a motion to approve and a second discussion. I think I heard. Yes, sir.
I think this is a perfect example of what we've been talking about for a long time. This is the Phillips community. It's on the National Historic Register that's been recognized by Charleston County. It's also recognized by the National Park Service. It has a historic overlay. So it has an extra layer of protection that goes beyond just the zoning. If there's anyone that we would consider denying, it would be this one, because it is in the Phillips community and it would not be subject to the historic overlay and the protections that it has. Again, this is a National Historic Trust property. We're looking at other properties throughout our, with 10 Mile, Hamlin, etc., and waiting for the historic overlay to be approved so that we can do the same thing and seek to mirror that and have those levels of protection in other settlement communities. So for that reason, I'll be voting to deny.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this the property that already has sewer? I know one of these on Highway 41 already has sewer, even though it's in the county.
I believe it does already have sewer.
Okay, I believe that's what we were told too.
Excuse me, sir. We can't have talking from the chambers. I'm sorry. That's a standard rule. It's not just you. I promise. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So did you get the answer to your question?
I believe we were told at committee that it already has sewer, so that's why I was asking.
Sewer availability.
Availability.
Yeah.
Okay.
Availability.
Oh,
but
I
that
thought
doesn't
he
mean they have service.
Oh, okay. I thought he said they had service already. Okay.
Okay. So this is in the Phillips Historic District.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if we annex it, it comes out.
Yes, sir.
So the district only applies if it's the county, even though it's a national designation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's significant for my vote. Yes, yes, sir.
I just still think, I mean, personally, I would love to fill in all of the donut hole properties and have the whole, our town actually as one. I think the zoning is the same. Again, they can develop it regardless because the zoning is the same. They'll get the sewer. I'm in favor of annexing folks who want to annex when the zoning matches, and the zoning does. So.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'd actually challenge council at this point to actually create our own historic overlay. If we care so much about these districts in this historic district, which I do as well, why don't we bring them in the town, and why don't we create our own historic overlay? I mean, everybody up here cares about the historic overlay. What better way to protect the historic overlay than by doing it ourselves? And you've got to they only come up for annexation once. Once you deny it, they're not coming up again. They get sewer. So annex it in, and let's get to work and create our own historic overlay so that we can be accountable and responsible for protecting these neighborhoods.
Ms. Hyatt.
We are in the process of developing our own historic overlay. We've been waiting on the county so that we could have similar rules, and we're going to have a special council, a committee meeting.
Once he's denied, he does not have to come back. Right. So annex in.
It is
get
already in a historic district.
It's already in the historic. And John, I would say that thank you so much for saying that, because that's exactly what we're intending to do, and that's exactly what we're waiting to do, so that when we approve the 10 mile district, that we can enact a pending ordinance doctrine of the historic overlay that the county will adopt, and that will allow us to adopt and mirror that if we choose to, based on council discussion. In this particular case, we already have a historic overlay. So the historic overlay is already in place, and so we don't need to put one in place at this point for that particular area.
All right, the motion is to approve. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve the annexation, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Everybody no, raise your hand, please. Okay, the noes have it by 6-3.
Move to defer.
I'm sorry, 1 minute.
Ma'am,
I just need to get those no's again.
the noes.
I think I have Mr. Mayor, no?
Yes.
Move to defer.
You're talking about item 2?
I'm talking about item because we're. So the motion
The
was
motion,
to
as I
approve.
understand, was.
So
yes.
the motion was to approve, which failed, which to me doesn't actually deny it yet.
Correct.
So my motion is to defer.
Second.
And the reason behind that is because, as I hear Chairwoman Hyatt of the Planning Committee, we can defer this several times and give time for our own historic overlay matching, however that kind of plays out. So I'd like to see that play out before we straight deny.
Well, let me ask a point of order here. This Phillips community already has a national historic designation, right?
Yes, so I don't want to confuse a zoning overlay with a historic overlay.
Right.
So 10 Mile already has a historic overlay and a zoning overlay in the county. The town is working on a similar zoning overlay. There is no zoning overlay that exists for the Phillips community or Hamlet Beach. Those are next. So the 10 Mile was sort of the pilot program. Let's get this one going. So while the Phillips community does have a historic designation in the county, it does not have a zoning overlay, and the county is not, to my knowledge, working on one yet. So we aren't either. We're waiting to see. We're following the county suit in all of these.
But if we were to annex it now, it would come into the town, and then it would not even have that historic overlay.
That's
that
correct.
Historic designation, excuse me. Zoning's an overlay, historic is a designation.
Yes, it is a county historic designation. It's
Okay.
designated as such through the county.
So we have a motion to defer. Did we get a second?
Yeah.
We got a second. Okay. Yes, sir. We're in discussion.
And the way that is going with the zoning, how that's done with the settlement communities is the settlement communities such as the 10 Mile have been working on that for 10 years, especially the last 3 years, and that's now been approved by the county by 68% of their voters, and they've determined what are the elements of their zoning uniquely, what they've done, and based on how that goes, then they'll do the same for Hamlin, and perhaps they'll do for Phillips community. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's important that the people in that area specifically get to determine what those elements are of zoning. It would be analogous to coming to the old village and saying, well, you really can't determine what are the parameters you're looking for in the old village or brickyard or seaside or anything else. We'll determine for you. I think it's important that each of these areas, these settlement communities, uniquely with their historic history, get to choose what they would like to see their zoning to be in the county.
Would it be appropriate to have an amendment to the motion to defer 1 and 2, since 2 is the zoning anyway, or just no action on the zoning if we don't annex it, right?
Right, sir. I mean, I think you could defer both of them. I think you could just take that up next, or
I mean, I can amend my motion to make it 1 and 2.
Okay.
Second.
All right. So the motion is, and as amended, is to defer 1 and 2.
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor. So Mr. Tiki brought up a good point when he's talking about the zoning overlay and the people in those communities should decide. But my understanding of the county the whole historic overlay is that it's not made up of just people from this community. Like there's people from some of the Johns Island communities, and it's not a board made up of only Phillips community.
The
Am I correct in that?
You're correct. It's the county's Historic Preservation Commission is made up. It's county-wide.
Yeah, and so there's only a couple of. I don't know the board, but the board makeup, I mean, I've heard those meetings are wild, and that, I mean, you've got these people from all over the county. They don't know what, I mean, so I don't trust that board. I mean,
I would agree. I would agree with Mr. Rambo's assertion, and that's exactly why they're looking to have a specific overlay for the 10 mile that would be made up of the 10 mile residents, much like the Old Village Historic District is made up all but one of residents in the Old Village. And so that's really what they're looking to do, because I agree. I wouldn't want somebody from all over town being on our Old Village Historic Commission trying to tell us what to do in the Old Village. So your point is well taken, but that's not what they're moving to do.
Okay.
Just real quick.
Yes, sir.
Respectfully, I think Mr. Tinky and many else on this council, I think I'm on the same page with you with protecting this community. Where I differ is we don't control the county, and unless a majority of us, which we could in any way, are going to run for county council, we have no guarantee that this is protected. It's not going to be, they could change their vote in 5 years if they want. So we've seen that they don't listen to us on 41. So why are they going to listen to us on this? And they can change it. If we want to protect the neighborhoods within the borders of Mount Pleasant, then we should protect them. And that is why I'll be a yes for the deferral, so that can get caught up. And then we can bring this entire community in if they would like to, and we can protect this historic district. Thank you.
All right. All in favor of the motion to defer items 1 and 2, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion, no. 1 no. Okay. Motion carries. Item 3, please.
Yes, sir. I will take 3 and 4 together. They will be separate votes. This is an ordinance to annex and zone conservation recreation open space, a 2-acre parcel. This is located out in northern Mount Pleasant. You can see it there with the red star. It's the long, narrow parcel, and it is directly adjacent to the town's public services facility off of Lieben Road and Highway 17. This is a parcel that is within the 10-mile historic overlay, and it is also within that newly adopted 10-mile zoning overlay. And within that 10-mile zoning overlay in the county, it is recommended for commercial uses. And in the town, it is recommended for settlement community uses. So I did want to point out it's that long red parcel there, commercial properties in the urban suburban area. Again, that's in the county's new zoning overlay, and that's what supersedes the county's base zoning of S3, which is RCC. So here's a comparison of what you could do in that commercial 10-mile overlay versus the town's conservation recreation open space. Again, it's pretty, there's much more intense uses that are allowed for that commercial property there if it stays in the county. Food sales, convenience stores, repair services. It does allow single-family residential as a conditional use. I believe it's up to 2 units an acre. The conservation recreation open space is what the applicant is requesting for this property if they are annexed into the town. You heard the speaker at the beginning of for public comment. They would like to make it into a RV park or a campground. It would have to, if it were approved, it would have to go through our design review board. We would look at, buffers and all those sorts of things, any pads that were put there to protect the trees and that such. But really, if you look at the potential uses, conservation, recreation, open space, there's not a lot of other uses that it would be allowed to have. All of it is, compatible with that recreation and conservation designation. So that is the proposal before you to annex this property and zone it CRO in the town of Mount Pleasant.
Move to approve annexation.
All right. Is that for item 3 and 4?
Just 3. I'm glad to
combine them.
Okay.
Okay.
Move to approve 3 and 4. Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. And this was recommended for approval by the planning committee. Okay. Right. Yes, sir. Mr. Rambo.
So I've been on council now for 6 years. This is the first RV park discussion or the first conservation recreation open space.
It's typically not
I feel like I'm finally learning, and then y'all throw something new. I know you put that list at late. So how many? I don't even know how an RV park works. I've never been to one. Like how many RVs would be allowed at one time? Like, is there a limit? It's just however many they can fit. What in traffic studies, like what's the traffic impact of an RV park? I just don't know the answers to those questions.
That's a great question, and that's why it would have to go through our internal development review team. We would look at it for any sort of concrete pads they may want to put there, how many could fit. They'd have to have a buffer along Highway 17. Okay. They'd have to preserve their trees. So those are the things that we would look at. The application mentioned 10 to 20. It would depend on the site meeting all the development standards, because even though you're not putting a permanent structure there, you're going to have to meet all your setbacks, all of those things that apply to a typical commercial or residential lot. So those are the things that we would look at. I think the applicant would like to get at least 10 spots in there, but that'll be determined through the review process.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other comments? All in favor of the motion to approve items 3 and 4, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
First reading ordinances number 26011 and 26012.
All right, item 5.
Yes, sir. Moving along. So this is a request to rezone a parcel from area-wide business to R2, low-density residential district. This is on May Lane. You can see it here in the context of the surrounding zoning. Here is the future land use. It is recommended for community scale commercial. I would like to point out the existing land use, and I think that was an important point to make in the past meetings, is even though it's recommended for commercial, much of this area is used as residential and has been used historically as residential. Also, you can see that May Lane is a dead end. There was concern at the Planning Commission meeting about that being a commercial property due to no outlet. Also, because it is such a small, I think it's 4,800 square feet, once you applied any sort of buffers, whatever commercial property you would improve it with, you would have to meet the parking. So it really it's not large enough to accommodate a commercial property. So they have requested to rezone it to residential.
Move to approve.
Sorry.
And it was recommended for approval.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve item 5, rezone from AB1 to Business 1 to R2. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
First reading ordinance number 26013.
Item 6, a lot of parcels in there. Please walk us through this.
Yes, this is actually 7 parcels. Together they add up to a little over 5 acres in size. You can see it here. It's adjacent to the Fulton subdivision, which is to the north, Old Georgetown Road and Children's Road. These 7 parcels are in the county. They are S3, which is the same as RCC. That's what the future land use recommends. And I am taking these together, but to point out the annexation, you do have to be contiguous to annex. This property is contiguous through here, and so you have to annex this one to make that one contiguous, and so on. And then the same here. The contiguity is right there. You'd have to annex parcel 5 to make 6 and 7 contiguous. And so the owner would like to bring all those parcels in and go from S3 in the county to CC in the town. This is not in a historic designation, so this is not in any
Sweetgrass.
protected. It is in the Sweetgrass
Sweetgrass,
Basket Overlay
okay.
District. I apologize. And there is no request to remove it from the Sweetgrass Basket Overlay.
Move to
So it would
approve.
come in
Second.
to CC.
Okay. Are we approving just item 6 or 6 and 7?
I'll do 6 and 7.
6 and 7. All right.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have one
Yes, sir.
procedural question.
Yes.
I thought S3 in the county like automatically came into CC.
It does.
So why
If-
is it an agenda item?
With the new zoning code, it used to be that when somebody came in and wanted to annex their property and they didn't request a zoning, we would go with the default zoning. We now make them request a zoning, even though it's consistent with what the default zoning would be, so that there's that public process and people are aware. But if you denied the zoning, it would come in
It would
as
still be
CC.
the same thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve items 6 and 7, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
First reading ordinance numbers 26014 and 26015.
Okay, this next applicant has requested a deferral.
All right.
Move
Is
to
there a
defer.
motion?
Second.
All right, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, motion carries. All right, item 9, please.
All right, this is a request to rezone a 4.88 parcel off Rifle Range Road from R1 to R2. The parcel is here. You can see it is adjacent to Shell Landing, and on the other side it sits next to Midtown. As I said, it is zoned R1. It's currently used as a funeral home, which would require a special exception if it was coming in as a new use. The request is to rezone to R2. These are both low-density residential district designations. The comp plan, either R1 or R2, would be appropriate for this area. It does not increase the density. Under R1 or R2, you have 3 units an acre. So the request to go from R1 to R2 really comes down to your lot size, 8,000 square feet versus 10,000 square feet. And so you can imagine that even though the density does not change, the maximum density can't necessarily be accomplished under the R1 10,000 square foot lots. And so that is the request before you. And
Move to approve for discussion.
Second.
All right, motion to approve and a second. We are in discussion. Did you have a question? Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Well, so how many units is R1? I'll give you all the questions at once. How many units is R1 compared to R2? And what other uses? So what it's currently residential or commercial? Neighborhood commercial?
no, the comprehensive plan recommends neighborhood scale commercial.
Okay.
And actually the neighborhood scale commercial was, I think it was updated with our most recent comp plan. But current zoning R1, proposed zoning R2, both have a maximum density of 3 units per acre. So it really comes down to the lot size, and once you get your infrastructure, your buffers, your streets, all those things is what you can accomplish under the R1 versus R2. Town staff has not reviewed a subdivision plan. If the approval is granted of the rezoning, they would have to submit a sketch plan. It would go through our internal development review team. We would look at it, and then once it was met all the zoning requirements, we would send it to the Planning Commission for approval.
Can you go back to the picture of the Google map?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a funeral home on there now,
Correct.
which is commercial. So what other commercial, because that's residential all around there, what other commercial can be put on here?
There can't. The zoning is not for commercial. The zoning is for residential. The future land use recommends commercial, and I suspect that was placed there because of the use, and it's been used in that manner for such a long time. But the zoning dictates the permitted uses, and so single-family detached residential is the only use allowed there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So is the use just grandfathered? Is it miszoned currently?
I'm sure it existed. I think it was held
I think it's 1999 or something like that.
1979. So in 1979 is when we adopted our first ordinance. This use would require a special exception through the Board of Zoning Appeals. I suspect it's been there long before our zoning ordinance was in place. If they were to come in today with a funeral home, they'd have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a special exception. So
And this is the soccer field back there.
it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Ms. Hyde.
This originally was a single-family residence that was converted to a funeral home. I guess they didn't request a rezoning at the time. Now, there's a easement on this property.
There
Is that on the right side or in the
Yeah,
back?
it's this right
Okay.
along there. It's a 35-foot drainage easement.
Okay.
Is there a power line on that as well?
I think there's a power line that runs along that side. Yes.
So my question, and I was here, but I missed this part of the planning committee meeting. if the comprehensive plan has that as neighborhood scale commercial, I thought we just went through a several years long process to have zoning changed to match what the comprehensive plan said. And so I'm confused as to why, if the comp plan has it neighborhood scale commercial, the zoning is still R1. Because part of the reason we went through all of that, and this is opinion, was that the comp plan needed to recommend land uses that help us ease traffic, put things where people need them. And yet it seems like we're always piecemealing and putting more residential where the comp plan, and when we took a 10,000 square foot look, said, hey, if we put commercial there, people could go do something there instead of having to get on 17 or go somewhere else. And so I just feel like every time we start making progress after the comp plan review and changing that and getting the zoning, we're right back to going for the maximum density residential. And that's why I'm just not comfortable with this.
When you put in place, as you mentioned, you don't have a survey or you don't have an actual layout of the lots. If you were to do that, what would you imagine the number of homes that could be at R1 versus R2? Do you have a...
Pure speculation. The maximum density is 14, so you're not going to get over that.
Right.
If you had 10,000 square foot lots, my guess is anywhere from 10, 11 lots. By the time you had all your infrastructure in place.
Versus what's in R2? How many lots?
13, 14.
So it's kind of a quandary, right? Mr. Mayor, like you bring up, it's the comp plan saying neighborhood commercial. I don't know that they got that one right.
Yeah.
Around all the residential. So I think that maybe that was overlooked. My interest was, I think Seaman Whitesides was up here for speaking of that and talking about more trees. It's pretty barren land right now. I'd like to see some more trees and some more legacy trees and a pond and things.
I like the soccer field
Up there. We don't own the soccer field is the problem. But yeah, you get your wallet out. I'd like to see it a little bit more consistent with the neighborhoods around it. And so they already have so it's weird. The comp plan says neighborhood commercial and they have the right to build homes there. Those are two true statements.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
Yeah, your question, Mayor, was exactly my question, and the reason I voted denial on the committee meeting, because I assumed that the kind of future use plan was the neighborhood scale commercial. I think my understanding now, though, to your point too, John, is that what it is right now is R1. So no matter if we do nothing, they can still build whatever it is, 10 houses. And if we give them R2, which is what they prefer, it's been represented to me that they can do more with the lot and be a little, have the buffer potentially on rifle range and, all of that. So for that reason, because it is R1 and they can already build houses on it, to me, there's not enough difference between R1 and R2 in this case. And with the representations the owner has made to me to make me say no to it, if that makes sense.
And that's why I was leaning for R1 as well, because of it's still a considerable amount of homes, but it's less density on that street. And a lot of people, for example, across the street, there's larger lot sizes and people are getting good remuneration for those.
Yes, sir. Mr. Brown.
Yeah, so similar to Mr. Rambo, I have a sentimental attachment to those soccer fields. I remember, my kids being 4 years old and coaching out there, and I hate to see those go, but I understand that we don't own those fields, and this is already zoned as residential. I guess my thought is shifting it to R2 may enable them to put more of a buffer along rifle range and kind of have a more park-like setting to it. Whereas R1, that very well could be a house right there on the corner. I think R2 maybe gives them a little more flexibility to design around some of the few existing trees there. And so kind of mixed feelings about this as well. But I think Residential is what they're zoned now. It's clearly not a commercial lot. I would hate to see that be developed as commercial, in fact. And so to me, I think the R2 gives them a little flexibility to make the entrance to this nicer and more park-like, and for that reason, I support it.
Is any buffer required at Rifle Range? I mean, I see all these other houses are right.
There would be a required buffer.
How much of a buffer
my
is
guess
required?
is it would be 50 feet, but I'd have to look. It could be. I don't have the answer off the top of my head. It's going to be at least a type 10B buffer, street side buffer. It may be larger than that. I'd have to look.
Oh, okay. Because when I look at the houses next door, they're right up on the road. So I didn't know if there was a buffer even required in that area.
Yeah, there should at least be a type B buffer, which is a street buffer, and it's typically 10 feet. So I'd have to double check that, but it would
10
at
feet.
least be that, at least.
That would be the minimum, just 10 feet.
Yes.
Which one gives the bigger buffer up front? Is there a difference?
The zoning wouldn't dictate the buffer along.
Yeah, we can't. And this is straight zoning, so we can't exact anything out of that, right?
Correct.
Okay. Also want to mention, I was mentioning to a supporter of this earlier today, one of the hard lessons I've learned in my time on here is remember, as much as we like the applicants and all of that, the zoning just stays with the land. They can sell it tomorrow. The market can drop before things get going. We have to ask, would we come along and zone this R2, whoever it was? And so there have been some cases, and I'm not saying that they're not doing that they don't intend to do it. They say, but from our standpoint, once we zone it that, whoever ends up with the property or at whatever time, they then have that zoning. And I've learned that the hard way on a couple of votes in the past. So that's kind of shading my view of things, as much as I believe them.
And one of the things I hear from people is give us consistency. Don't give, if you give something to one, that sets a precedent. We want to have it here. And so I think it's important to be consistent as we go through this. And whether you're a builder or an individual home owner, et cetera, they just want to know there's some consistency out there, and this would give consistency.
Ms. Brown?
Do you have one more question? I see Shell Point is zoned R2, and then on the other side, that's a PD. What zoning would that PD be consistent with?
Oh, goodness.
Is that like more of an R2 or an R3?
Well, the lots look a lot smaller. I would say it's R3, R4 type size lots.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. Chapman.
Mayor and council members, I would invite you to look at what is across the street, which is a school, an elementary school. Mm-hmm. Anything we can do to reduce the number of vehicles on Rifle Range Road, I think we need to do. And if we're getting less houses in R1, that's reducing traffic on Rifle Range Road. And I would invite any of my friends on council at 5 o'clock on a weekday, go look at the traffic on Rifle Range Road. So in that case, I am going to vote for R1.
All right. If there's no further discussion, I think we're going to have to do a roll call on this. The motion is to approve, so a yes vote is to change to R2.
Mr. Rambo.
No.
Mr. Rambo votes no. Mr. Tinky.
No.
Mr. Tinky votes no. Miss Whitaker.
Yes.
Miss Whitaker votes yes. Mr. Brownstein.
Yes.
Mr. Brownstein votes yes. Mr. Chapman.
No.
Mr. Chapman votes no. Miss Crosby.
No.
Miss Crosby votes no. Miss Hyatt.
No.
Miss Hyatt votes no. Mr. Icofano.
Yes.
Mr. Icofano votes yes. Mayor Haney.
No.
Mayor Haney votes no.
Okay. By 6-3, the motion to approve fails. All right. Item 10, please. This was up in Park West.
Yes, sir. So this is an ordinance to amend the Dunes West Park West plan development. The proposal is to incorporate a 7-acre parcel into the PD. The site is there. It is adjacent to the Life Park Church and is under the ownership of the church. It was originally thought that they would expand and use this parcel, and they've been looking at some different options, and they would now like to incorporate it into the PD and develop it as residential. It is recommended, it is zoned for public institutional, and like I said, because it was anticipated to be used for the church use. So, as I said, this is a 7-acre parcel. What they would like to do is bring it into the church, and you can see it right down there. It is adjacent to the Dunes West PD. It would come in with a multifamily type zoning.
And may I interrupt you just for
Yes.
all of our edification? The Dunes West PD is what Park West is under.
Correct.
Okay,
It's the
just want to make
Dunes-
sure
Correct.
everybody knew that's what we're talking about.
It's a joint Dunes West, Park West PD. This is contiguous and adjacent to the Park West neighborhood. It would come in, they would designate it for multifamily, and it would allow, they've planned for 43 townhouse style multifamily units.
Move to deny.
We have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. All right. We are in discussion. I have a comment that I want to make. Again, y'all can call me the old man if you want. I've earned it. Years ago, we did a settlement on Park West, a legal settlement, and we paid millions of dollars. And part of that was a buy down of development rights, as you call it. And I understand that there are 50 left of
Yes, sir.
multifamily.
Correct.
And I get it that if we put this parcel into the PD, or I'm going to ask, it will use 46 of those remaining 50.
43.
43 of those remaining 50. If that is, I want to make sure that we are not adding. We never anticipated adding land to the Park West or Dunes West PD when we did that as a council. We thought, we were buying down Park West as we knew it for that amount of money to settle that lawsuit, which we did. And now we're adding land so that it can be developed in Park West. So first of all, that's just that's kind of outside the box on that. The other thing is, again, I just have a problem with us rezoning things that we just went through years and years of comp plan review, and zoning. And there's a reason this is public institution. And people have bought and moved there relying on certain things. I don't think they check the zoning of every parcel of land. But now what are we going to do? We're going to do not just residential, but multifamily in a place that every other thing that we have looked at to this point, I believe, Ms. Rita, unless I'm misunderstanding the comprehensive plan, everything else saw that as being PI. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
correct. That's correct. And I would like to say that a lot of times when we go through that comprehensive plan exercise, we look at what the zoning is.
Mhm.
It was zoned for public institutional, and we knew that it was going to be planned for that. And so, it was based on that as well. But you're correct.
Okay.
You're correct.
Are they proposing to do any affordable or attainable units in this on their own?
No, sir. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Mr. Ram?
Yeah. So, the original idea of that property, I think you mentioned that was if they were going to build a school right there. I think was their original idea. Even if they're not going to build a school, being a parent of young children, the biggest complaint is that there's not enough daycares. That would be an amazing place to have a church-sponsored daycare that could generate revenue for the church if that's what they're needing. And that would be my encouragement of the use is what they had originally intended. I don't think that putting 43 more units there serves that community in any way except further increasing traffic. I certainly was not elected or said when I ran for office that I was going to add more units. So I don't know. I think there's some good options there for use of that property that could serve that community and serve the church. I think rezoning it to residential is the easy way out for quick money, but I'm not supporting that.
Mr. Tinky and then Ms. Hyatt.
The reason why I voted that way is I had a call with Park West today at some length, and they were scrambling because they're not for this, and they were scrambling to get a letter together or to get people here. Now that's conjecture, but it is a conversation I had. So I would want them to be able to give their have a full discussion with the seller and the developer as to what happens, because there's unintended consequences. Whether we can unilaterally put them in or not, the discussion has to come. What do these unit owners pay as far as amenity fees? What are their rights and what are not their rights? So I think a discussion with Park West would be important. Mirroring Mr. Rambo, I think you can also have the use of the school. You can also have the use of a hospital or medical clinics, etc., all of which give more live, work, and play opportunities for the people in that area. But let's just say we went forward with townhomes, which do give density in that area and may be a good area for density. Then we need to really look at a couple things, and those items are interconnectivity. The walkways would connect to the school, but we'd have no guarantee that they would do those. They would also connect potentially to the retail that's at Public. So when I walked that lot, it was obvious to me that people are going to walk in the street if they don't have the sidewalks and whatnot. So that's not safe for that many people that are there. Likewise, attainable housing is something we've committed to do. And the church, Seacoast, could have taken a lot of more different ways of getting their money back. They have a similar situation. They were going to develop a church at Park West, but they decided not to, so they did attainable housing instead of industrial use. And so that was 100 units, as I recall, of attainable housing. So if it were to go the route of townhomes, I certainly would want to put in a parameter percentage for attainable housing, because we very much need it there. Also, I think the other items that would at least be considered were buffers there, and to make sure that in the PD they couldn't do more than 43 units. And we did talk about one other area which you showed, if you see the map there, where the pond is. On the other side of that is just an open parking lot, and there could be, instead of a cul-de-sac there could potentially be another entrance and exit. Obviously that has to be engineered, but those are my reasons. I don't think we're there yet as far as the discussions as what the use of it is.
And just to be clear, Mr. Pagliarini, on first reading, it's a yes or no on this.
Correct.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
I guess this is something that normally I wouldn't be in favor of, but I think council needs to understand whether these units would actually take up 43 units that are allowed in the PD out of the 50. So basically this is approving units that are already approved that could be built that don't come to us because it's a PD, and we could attach things like attainable housing. So one thing I was considering was if we would send it back to committee and address the fact that it's a PD and some things that we could attach to the plan rather than just approving it up or down today if we deferred it and sent it back to committee.
Could we have a
I think
clarification on? I'm sorry, Mr. Rambo.
Who's raising their hand? Mr. Brownstein? All right.
Well, I think Howard had us first.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Mr. Chapman is first, then Mr. Brownstein. Thank you.
And I want to add to Councilmember Hyatt's comments about where else do we want 50 multifamily units to come in the Park West area. We don't know where they're going, and I don't think anybody wants even 50 more in the Park West area. But if we're going to have that possibility, which we do, and I was on the Planning Commission when that vote came up in in court, Mayor, and I was very glad to see it. But this area, we just built a new road right in that area that can handle the traffic. We also have a commercial shopping area right there. And I'm sure the church is going to want to do the right thing. And if any entity feels the need for the housing that's necessary for our workers in Mount Pleasant, it's certainly a church. So I'm going to vote yes on this. Number one, to be a good place if we're going to have multifamily, to have it. And second, if we are going to have additional attainable housing, I think if anybody is going to do attainable housing, a church is going to do it. And then finally, it is next to a commercial area, which is walkable from these units. So for those three reasons, that's why I'm going to vote yes.
Well, let me clarify. The
Sorry.
motion is to deny. See.
I'm going to vote yes to do this,
Gotcha.
whatever it takes.
Gotcha. Mr. Brown, see you next, please.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Chaplin stole some of my thunder. I do think this would be probably the most appropriate place if you're looking at Park West from a bird's eye view. It's right on a new road. It's attached to commercial. It is kind of a live, work, play scenario in my mind. It also has an added benefit of furthering the interests of First Baptist Church, which is an important congregation in our community. I would like to see some attainable housing there. I think that assuming we get past this vote tonight, I would like to see it go back to the planning committee and see if we can maybe negotiate a little bit more to make sure that we're creating space for young professionals, senior citizens, and also I do think multifamily by its very nature will make it more affordable than a single family home. It's something that I care deeply about. There's a lot of people that we need in our community that make it work, whether it's a first responder, a town employee, a nurse, a teacher, and those people are currently shut out of Mount Pleasant. So I see a lot of benefit to this. It kind of closes out, for all intents and purposes, the Dunes West PD. It's on a new road. It's connected to commercial and the schools and the church. And so I do see a lot of positives with what they're proposing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Eichenbaum.
Okay, so just a couple of things. Number one, I can see why we might need districts for stuff like this, because we just turned down 3 homes on Rifle Range Road. And now we're talking about 43 homes in what is Upper Mount Pleasant, North Mount Pleasant, Park West area. It's kind of inconsistent, but I understand. I personally think that this needs to go back to planning committee for further discussion. I think that's, and I would agree with a little bit of the attainable housing portion of it. I understand. I never knew just because you were touching a PD that you could come in and claim that PD's vested rights, I guess you could say. That might be too big of a word, but you can take up their housing. So I like the idea of it going back to planning committee. I do have to state, I think a little inconsistent here on council with 43 homes compared to 3 on Rifle Range.
Yes. Ms. Crow?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would like to also put this back to the committee. I think there could be some restrictions that we could put in place because, as I understand it, whatever we put in the PD they have to follow. Correct? If we say you're capped at 43, they're capped at 43.
That's right.
And I believe it's 14. It went from like 10 homes to 14 homes on Rifle Range.
11 to 14. Yeah.
Not 3. Just to make that clarification. But yes, I think going back to the planning, deferring it back to the planning committee to attach some restrictions that we would like to see on it would be my vote.
Mr. Pagliarini, help us on this. If you were, again, living in Brickyard and somebody from an adjoining piece of land wanted to go into the Brickyard PD, could they do that if there was extra housing? I'm confused because it's obviously something you can do, but how does that work if you have a PD and Patriot, in Park West, and then somebody adjacent can just go into your PD?
I think normal thought process would want to compare it to an HOA. Right. But this
Or
is
HOA, yeah.
right. But this is a PD. It's not governed by. Initially, it was governed by a declarant, and there was, I say, some entity at the helm, which there is not right now. But the governing entity, which is us, has the authority to amend PDs. Someone used the term vested right. The number of units, though, is not something that the town could unilaterally change. In this case, there's no guarantee that those additional 50 units will ever be built. But this, while unusual, this is an appropriate way to move forward in this situation.
Thank you.
Mr. Rambo.
I have kind of a follow up, Mr. Pagliarini, the same thing, and Michelle, can the Park West, I don't know if the Park West developer, if they're still around. I mean, they've pretty much built out. Where could they realistically put 50 more units? I mean, it's like, it's an arbitrary number on a page, but that doesn't mean they can actually make it fit within what they have currently. I'm very confused. And why would the Park West developer just give away their units? They wouldn't have a right to say no. What's the financial gain for them to give away their units? I'm very confused at the motivations here. I think there's like this selling point that, there's going to be 50 more units built anyway. And I just don't believe that. So I don't know. I threw a lot out there, but
No, it's a great point. As David said, there are 50 units available. We went and looked. The already approved, even though you have units allotted, you still have to go through an approval process with the town. And so we went and looked at all of their approved multifamily developments, and they are all built out, the ones that have been approved and planned. So where could this 50 fit? We didn't go back and look at all their vacant land that is not in a buffer. I can't answer that question without looking at the entire development, but they could come up with a new location, conceivably, if they could find one, and they would have 50 units. But
so what would the developer financially gain from giving away their units?
When you say the developer, again, there is no the developer.
Right.
It would be on an individual parcel within the bounds of the planned development.
So those 50 units are getting developed.
Well, again, as Michelle says, if there is a parcel that could be developed, someone purchases it or an entity purchases it, those units are available. But again, I
just got smoke and mirrors to just add density anyway.
I just have to ask the question because it's new to me. So if I have a PD, I've worked hard to get a PD, and it takes years to get one, and I've got 100 units left, and a town came and said to me, well, I'm just going to take 100 of your units and I'm going to add to your PD, and then I've done all my performance based on those 100 units. Would they have a recourse if they lost the units? But I'm not understanding it well.
The units belong to the PD,
right,
not to any individual developer in this point. To the
It
PD.
belongs to everybody who's under that
Okay,
PD.
so let's take that. Let's take there then. With the PD there, if they have a homeowner association, they're planning on developing 50 more, and that's going to lower their dues because they can develop more units. Then you've taken away the homeowner association ability to do that. Or I don't know. I just don't understand it either.
Yeah, I don't want to confuse HOAs with a PD, which is a legal entity and document, which provides parameters, it provides a zoning map, it provides caps on density, on units, and the like. It's not managed by an HOA. It's originally managed by a declarant who creates it. That declarant, in this case, no longer exists. So the units may never be developed at all. It is possible that someone could find an area within the PD, the current PD, and could develop to somewhere between 1 and 50. As Michelle said, it's very difficult to look at it now and determine where that will be.
Well, that's why I'm glad I'll be voting to have it go back to the committee too, because I think it's important that there's at least a discussion between the developer and the seller and there is no developer.
There's no developer.
Just as far as the impact.
All right. We have a motion to deny. If there's no more discussion, I don't know if we need a roll call. I think we might. All right. The motion to deny. So a yes vote is to deny.
Just real quick, so we could vote no and then make a motion to defer, and if we wanted to, is that correct?
Yeah, you can do that. Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Tinky.
No.
Mr. Tinky votes no. Ms. Whitaker.
No.
Ms. Whitaker votes no. Mr. Brownstein.
No.
Mr. Brownstein votes no. Mr. Chapman.
No.
Mr. Chapman votes no. Ms. Crosby.
No.
Ms. Crosby votes no. Ms. Hyatt.
No.
Ms. Hyatt votes no. Mr. Icofano.
No.
Mr. Icofano votes no. Mr. Rambo.
Absolutely yes.
Mr. Rambo votes yes. Mayor Haney.
Yes.
Mayor Haney votes
All right.
yes.
But 7-2, the motion fails.
Move to defer to planning committee.
Second.
All right. To defer to the planning committee.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No.
And one opposed. All right. Motion carries 8-1. Give me just a second to make my notes. Okay, this moves us to section B, old business, still under planning. Final reading of an ordinance to amend sections 156 of the Mount Pleasant Code of Ordinances pertaining to building area ratio standards within the neighborhood character preservation overlay district. Mrs. Hyatt, do you have as chair of planning, do you have a motion to make?
I would like to move that we approve with amendments.
Okay, hold on. Make a motion.
Motion to approve.
Can we do two? I'm wondering if these should be two separate votes. So we have the BAR issue, and then we have the ADU issue.
Okay.
I think it would be it would be important if we separated those for the purposes of how, if that's
Right.
possible.
Well, what we would require is on item number 1 for final reading, an overall motion to approve. And then amendments can be made one by one.
Okay. So if you'll do the overall motion.
Okay. So move to approve.
Second.
All right, and this is just to get the overall topic into discussion, and then we can make amendments. All in favor of the motion, please say yes, sir.
If we vote now, then we're approving the whole thing. I think we want
You
the
mean
opportunity to
move
make some amendments.
Right. Any amendments can be made at this point.
Got it. All right.
I'll make
Okay.
Yes.
I'll
The
make a-
amendments were
Ms. Hyatt, go ahead.
that I wanted to make were for accessory uses and structures to have a consistent 10-foot side and rear setback for all accessory uses and structures.
Okay.
Um,
A 10 foot.
No matter the height.
right, for consistency.
10 foot side and rear. Are there more, or is that
Yeah.
more? Okay, more.
I want the next amendment would be to eliminate that the
Wait a
maximum.
minute. It would have to be part of the same amendment.
Is it part of the
We
same?
have to take amendments.
Or you want each one?
I think each.
Each separately.
The first amendment is the 10 feet,
Mhm.
and then that would require a second and a vote.
Right.
And then
Okay.
you could move on.
Second.
All right. Is there a second?
Can I make a comment?
Can I have her repeat it?
We're not in discussion if we don't have a second
She
to
can
her
repeat
amendment.
the motion. You're correct, sir. She can repeat the motion.
Right.
Which I think
Please
is the
repeat the
question.
motion.
Okay. To allow 10-foot side and rear setbacks for all accessory uses and structures.
Okay. Is there a second? The chair can second, so I will second for discussion.
For me, I think it's important to look at it holistically, because you could, as we go through these are all interrelated. as far as how the setbacks are, the building area ratio and all the rest. And so if we go piecemeal by there, I don't mind, I'd like to have a discussion on the whole thing really before we go one by one and vote on them, because at the end of the day, we might realize we had an unintended consequence of what happened with the vote. But that's just for me.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, as chair and the one who seconded that, if we try to do this Rubik's Cube, we're going to have 9 different opinions. And that's okay if y'all want to be here all night, but I think we need to find a way to address these issues, or everybody's going to have, you move the ADU from 25 to 20 feet, then the setback gets moved. So if somebody's got an answer to that other than one at a time, I don't know what it is. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll give it an attempt. I went to the meeting. I've read through the public comments. Kind of what I've heard, obviously there's a variance of opinion, but what I've heard is a sort of a common thread is to approve the building area ratio and to change the setback on ADU, any portion above, 18 feet, move it to 10 feet instead of the 6 that it currently is. I think those are the two popular components of this. I think the rest, no taller than the principal structure and the maximum of 40%. I think those two seem to have more potential unintended consequences. So I would sort of recommend that the path forward is perhaps to do the bar, do the increased setback for the tall accessory structures, and then maybe we can hold off on the rest and sort of study how that would impact the neighborhoods. My takeaway from it, and I agree, is that a lot of the homes being built in Old Mount Pleasant appear to be oversized, taking up a lot of the lot and creating scale issues in the neighborhoods. Our stated purpose when we started this process was trying to come up with ways to encourage people not to demolish the ranch homes. I think that those, if you're limiting an accessory structure to 40% or no taller than the primary structure, I think both of those things actually work against that goal and could potentially encourage people to take down those ranch homes. So that's kind of the path forward that I envisioned, but I'll obviously listen to the rest of the group.
Ms. Hyatt, so you got a motion. Do you want to amend or withdraw that motion?
No, I'm fine with
Okay.
that. It had to do with consistency, because I was also going to make a motion about heights, but
Well, I think,
if we just stay at 10 feet, then
I
it's
think
easy
we-
for staff to just.
I think we have a path forward, because in discussion on the motion that I seconded, along Mr. Brownstein's thing, I think we ought to agree tonight on the big things that we can agree on, and get the basics of this done. We have done this before. The perfect is the enemy of the good, and a good plan executed today beats a perfect plan tomorrow. So let's agree on the big things, and I think you did a good job of summarizing those. And I think the setback is one of those. The 10 feet, Mr. Brownstein, would you agree that the further we set back, the better?
Yes, sir. I do. I think as it's stated in the ordinance with the setback is appropriate.
Okay.
So are you withdrawing then your motion so it goes quicker?
Are
you withdrawing your second? I guess.
No, I'm not. I'm not withdrawing my second. But the 10 feet right now, the amendment is to just have it a 10-foot rear and side and rear setback on all accessory usage. We haven't addressed the height and all of that yet.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I was in agreement with Mr. Brownstein as far as eliminating the 40% rule and then addressing the heights.
Okay.
But those were just the 3 things.
And
So I'm kind of in
just
agreement.
to help move the discussion along, I am too. So I'll be voting that way as well. And I think this is part of that. All right. Yes, sir.
On the building to area ratio, I would just add everything that relates in this building to area ratio would be that's listed in the draft would be utilized, because I think those were good definitions and good exceptions. For example, that one of them was for item, let's see, on the last page, for lots tidally influenced saltwater wetlands, marsh, or open water beyond the delineated DHEC OCRM critical line, bar shall be calculated only using the high ground of the lots and specifically excluding wetlands, marsh, or open view. That's just one of the listings that describes building area ratio. So I'm just saying do the building area ratio and just include the statements around building area ratio as part of that.
All right. I think we got a path forward. So if we're ready to vote on this, this is the amendment.
Do have a question. Ms. Hyatt's setback was regardless of height. Does that affect somebody just building a shed or a detached garage?
So our code is broken up into major accessory structures and uses and minor, and a major is a shed, whether it's 10 feet tall or 15 feet tall or 18 feet. Minor would be maybe like children's play equipment, things like that. So our zoning code does differentiate, but a shed, regardless of the height, would be considered a major accessory structure.
So I think in light of that, I think we need to put some kind of height. I don't know, just restricting somebody from putting a tool shed 6 feet from the property line. I just feel like maybe the way it's written in this ordinance is better. Anything over 18 feet would have a 10-foot side and rear setback. It seems good to me.
That's right.
You want me to withdraw my motion?
I'm not saying that. I'm asking you what you want to do. No pressure tactics here. No, sir. No, ma'am.
Okay. I mean, this was hard doing these three because I had something that had to do with heights that I was going to amend, and that's why the 10-foot. But okay, if it's going to mean sheds, I will withdraw my amendment.
Okay, and I will withdraw my second. That's
Okay.
what you're proposing.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and propose an amendment that we approve the bar and the side setback for an accessory structure as described in the ordinance. Remove the maximum 40% of the building footprint for the accessory structure and remove the part that's no taller than the primary structure.
Second.
Okay, remove. Okay, I got the motion in a second. I just want to make sure I got second. Remove what?
I'm sorry. It's to approve the bar, remove the 40%, remove the no taller than the primary structure, and to approve the 10-foot side setback as described in the ordinance.
Okay. She had already seconded it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
She already had a second. Okay. Is everybody? Let me ask this question, just so we can kind of vote with confidence. With those amendments, does anybody anticipate any further amendments to this ordinance after this?
Yeah, I thought we were doing these one at a time, but you said eliminate 40%.
Eliminate the no taller than the primary structure, approve the bar, approve the setback as described.
And just for clarity for people watching, that's not the 40% lot coverage. That's 40% for an ADU, right? For a major structure could not be more than 40% of the size of your house when ADUs normally are 850 feet.
Right.
And if you have a 1,300 square foot house, you get to build a closet. Yeah.
Also not to be confused with 40% impervious surface coverage, 35% lot coverage.
Right. We're not talking about impervious or lot coverage.
Right.
We're talking about the relationship of your accessory to your home.
Correct.
That's real important. Yes.
I just have one clarifying question. So on the setback, so if you're going to build over 18 feet, the amendment is to have a 10-foot setback. Does that setback apply at the ground level, like foot number 1 of the building, or is that like a wedding cake? Like you could potentially like have a tiered roof, and as long as you're 10 feet from the property line once you're 18 feet high. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I see. It could be a step back. It's really any portion over 18 feet has to be 10 feet off the property line.
Okay,
That's how it's.
it doesn't affect the entire. So if somebody had like a detached garage currently that was 6 feet or 7 feet from the property line, they could still add on to it. They just couldn't. They would just, yeah. Okay,
Theoretically,
all right,
yes.
I got it.
And I don't know if it matters, but I just want to clarify that the ordinance is already written to say the 6 feet and the 10 feet. So the setbacks would stay the same. I don't know that that's an amendment, but.
Yes,
correct?
not an
Okay.
amendment.
So it would remain.
Yeah,
it
so
is.
I guess if it's just an amendment to remove the 40% and to remove the no taller than the primary structure.
And do you want that removed for the Old Village Historic District too? Because it's already in there for the Old Village. It's already written in the code.
No.
Okay.
Only
Just for the old
The
Mount
rest of
Pleasant
town.
outside of the outside of the historic district.
For the neighborhood character preservation overlay district, would that
And the
be
rest.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
That's what we're voting on, because we don't need to go changing we don't need to fix what ain't broken. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Any other? Yes, sir.
So this does not include any other part of Mount Pleasant?
No, the accessory structures applies to the rest of
Townwide.
town.
Right.
So you can see on the left
Right.
is the location. How it has evolved is that you have the Old Village, you have Old Mount Pleasant, and then you have the rest of town. But the way it has come to this point at final reading is that Old Mount Pleasant and the rest of town are all the same. And when we talk about Old Mount Pleasant, it's this area and the rest of town. So it would affect this height and setback for detached accessory structures would apply throughout town, except for the Old Village Historic District. Unless, of course,
Overruling HOAs?
if HOAs wouldn't matter. What could matter is if there's a planned development in place that has their own setbacks. So if it's already, if setbacks are established in an approved planned development, this would not apply. But if you're outside of a planned development and you're outside of, you're North Mount Pleasant and you want to do a detached accessory structure that's going to be over 18 feet in height, you have to have a 10-foot setback.
Any other?
So, just to be clear, then in the Old Village, it would be 25 or 20.
No, the proposal was to go back down to 20
Okay,
feet
got
in
it.
the Old Village with a definite 10-foot
Okay, got it.
setback. Yeah.
Okay, this is on the amendment. I don't think I could restate it. I've got the bullet points written down to amend. If there's no further discussion, all in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So the amendment passes. So now we already have a motion to approve the overall ordinance, which would be as amended.
I just have, so this is every neighborhood in town. This started in one neighborhood in the old, in Indian Village, and then this is sweeping across every other neighborhood in town. I don't know that every other neighborhood in town. I think we concentrated on only telling Old Mount Pleasant, Old Historic District this. That's where the open house was done, and this is all of Mount Pleasant. For that reason,
Can make an amendment.
I'd make a motion to take the rest of town off of this until we were to have time to let the rest of town know, because we 100% concentrated on Old Village Historic District. And
Was
Old
that
Mount
was that a
Pleasant.
motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and a second.
I'm taking off rest of town.
Well,
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
The only thing I think that's really affected all the rest of the town is the setbacks. The 6 foot is the only thing that's really changing is that you're going to have to do a 10-foot setback if you have an over 18-foot building townwide. Isn't that the only thing that's going to affect the rest of town?
That's correct. If
That's
you're,
the only thing, Mr. Acafano, that's going to affect everybody else is the consistency with setbacks with accessory buildings.
But-
Instead of 6 feet, if it's tall, it'll go to 10 feet.
I just want to add, I think Mr. Icofano has a good point. We only mentioned it for this part. It doesn't mean we can't come back and do it for all of town, but I think for appearance and propriety's sake, we need to do it this way as advertised.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because it also affects that height of the ADU compared to the primary structure too. So I agree, Mr. Acofano and the mayor.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
We-
All in, yes, this is an amendment. What was it again, Mr. Icofano? Just remove rest of town, right?
Yeah, I've taken that.
Got it.
Right.
All right. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So it is amended. So this applies to certain parts to the Old Village Historic and the others to Old Mount Pleasant as the Neighborhood Character Preservation Overlay District, which was shown on the map. So now, as amended, is there any further discussion on the ordinance as it stands? All right, all in favor of the motion to approve the ordinance as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Final reading ordinance number 2505.
We made it.
We made it, exactly. And if we're gonna keep moving, I won't need to have a break, but so let's see if we can keep going.
Yeah, we're almost through planning.
All right, this is items 2 and 3.
Yes, sir. Final reading to annex and zone this parcel.
Move to approve items 2 and 3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll just say before we vote, I've been a no on these from the start, and I'll still be a no, and I'll lose a vote. That's okay. I just want to explain myself.
I'll be a no as well.
All right. All right. All in favor of the motion to approve items 2 and 3, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. All right.
Final
6,
reading ordinance number 26002.
Hold on. Crosby.
260.
Crosby.
no.
Crosby, Tinky, Haney.
Yeah, I'm not.
Wasn't that a 1970s band? No, that's
Sounds
Crosby
like it.
still.
Crosby Stills is bad.
All right. Item 4, providing for the annexation of an approximately 0.35 acre parcel located at 1602
approve.
Rifle Ray.
Yeah, just a reminder, this came to you last month for first reading. They were requesting R3 zoning. Council denied that R3. It's still up for annexation. If this is approved, it would come in as R1.
Second.
Okay. And again, this is only for the annexation.
Right.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second to approve at 0.35 acres. Is this intended for residential use?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Final reading ordinance number 26004.
Section 9, committee action items. There are none. Section 10, item A, first reading ordinance to amend. This has to do with public right-of-way planning and replacement in our code of ordinances. It's a legal change, but it allows for some new ways to plant and cover things that frankly were outdated that has to do with vegetation.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, quick question. Is this the one that we had kind of kicked around about a year ago, and there's some question about would Mount Pleasant Waterworks replace the grass when they're doing work?
I don't know if it's the same one, Mr. Brownstein, but I know that this one is so they can do like a more pollinator friendly and all rather than the hydro seeding and stuff like that. Whether that's the same issue, I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, that as long as it doesn't change. If I want grass, they come and dig up the line that they replace the grass. I understand if it gives more flexibility for pollinator gardens, but just want to confirm that that's not going to change how they treat my yard or your yard when they
I
dig
certainly
things up.
don't think so, and that wasn't the intention, but I will defer to legal.
No, sir, I don't
They still have to
think so,
replace your
no.
grass, yeah.
What
I don't think we're going to have involuntary pollinator gardens, I'll say that much. Yes, any other?
I didn't hear what Mr. Pagliarini said.
No, sir, it doesn't affect what
Okay. The grass for grass.
All right. All in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
First reading ordinance number 26019.
Old business, item 1, an ordinance to amend the budget of the town of Mount Pleasant for fiscal year. This would be your motion.
Yes, sir. As y'all heard the presentation by our finance director, this is a amendment to recommend.
Mr. Chapman.
Motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr. Chapman.
No,
You want the gavel?
I was going to say,
Please.
vote. Go ahead and vote.
Give us your motion.
Oh, now we need the amendment.
Okay. To recommend to approve the fiscal year 2026 mid-year budget adjustment with staff recommended amendments, which include healthcare fund balance true-up, $2,300,000. IT WatchGuard migration of police camera data, $300,000. Stormwater emergency repair cost, $500,000. And then a new position within the business license office and inspector, $0 using money that's already there. Total amount to amend $3,100,000.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries.
Final reading 2600.
That was the amendment.
We need to vote.
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sorry.
final.
I'm sorry. That was the
That was
amendment.
the
What's
amendment.
the amendment?
Thank you. Got ahead of myself. All right. Any further discussion now on the motion to approve the budget true up? All right. All in favor of the underlying motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all very much. Thanks
Final
for
reading
catching.
ordinance number 26008.
Number 2, an ordinance authorizing and approving a grant of surplus right-of-way to the South Carolina Department of
Move for
Transportation.
approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. We went over the details of this last time. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Final reading 26007.
Item 11, if there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. That was better.
All right.
than that.